Hey guys, in today's episode, I, Teacher Tiffany, am going to teach you some useful natural English expressions that actually came from a conversation I had with one of my friends who also happens to be an ESL teacher. You don't want to miss this lesson. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. All right, guys, this conversation actually happened in episode 32 of the Speak English with Tiffani podcast. This is my friend, Teacher Kat. Now, my friend is actually from New Zealand, so you'll notice when you watch some of the clips from our conversation that she has a very beautiful accent. But don't worry, you will be able to understand her. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a series of 4 different clips. Within each clip, we're going to learn 3 new English expressions, okay? So let's go and look at the first clip. Here we go. Tempted to ask you, well, I guess that leads right into our next question because I want to ask you how you kind of transitioned to becoming an English teacher. So when did you become an English teacher? And you say you've been in Korea for 9 years. So is that when you first became an English teacher, and kind of what led you to become an English teacher?
Okay, long story.
Okay.
I became an English teacher when I came to Korea.
Uh-huh.
When I came, I had no intention of staying for 9 years. So
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, it's like 8 and a bit. I'm in
Gotcha.
the middle of my 9th year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys noticed that there were 3 expressions we saw in that first video clip. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the expressions and I'm going to explain them to you and also give you multiple examples. And then we're going to watch the clip again to see if you catch them, okay? So let's go back to my screen and let's look at the first expression that we heard in that clip from clip number 1. Here we go. The first expression was leads right into. Once again, leads right into. All right, so here's the meaning. This means to guide someone or something into something or some place. Or in other words, to transition into something else. So, for example, I'm going to give you some sentences, but I want you to think about this. Let's imagine that you're in church or you're at a big program and there's going to be a main speaker. Now, before that main speaker gets up to talk, someone else comes up before him or her and sings a beautiful song. Now, I told you guys before that I was known as the singing teacher in Korea. I love to sing. So let's say, for example, they come to the stage and they clear their throats and then the music starts and they start singing. I have a maker. You guys didn't know I could sing, huh? All right, so they continue, they sing the song, and then after the song, it goes directly to the main speaker. So we can say the song led right into the main speaker's speech. Kind of makes sense? All right, so let's look at some more examples. Here we go. The first example is the speech naturally led right into a long discussion on the current state of our environment. Okay, so again, that means after the speech, many people who were listening to the speech started thinking, and after the speech ended, they started discussing different topics about the environment. Okay, all right, next, number 2, we have his solo will lead right into the finale of the play. Again, so this person is doing a solo, and when they finish, it will go directly into the finale or the end of the play. All right. And finally, we have their questions led right into a heated debate between both groups. Now, maybe you guys don't know what heated debate. So you know what a debate is, right? Kind of a discussion where each side is trying to prove their point. But when we add heated in front of the word debate, it means there was a lot of tension. Maybe each side was feeling a little bit angry or upset, or very passionate about what they were saying. So in English, we say heated debate. So again, the sentence said, their questions led right into a heated debate between both groups, okay? Now, I want us to look at this final example using this expression. We see two women sitting on a bench, and the sentence says, the two women sat on the bench at the same time, which naturally led right into a deep conversation. Now, this is something that is very possible or highly possible in America, because remember, in American culture, we actually talk to strangers. We'll walk on the street, and if we make eye contact, we'll say, hello, how are you? And if we're in a space where there are just two people or two or three, we actually can start a deep conversation. So when the lady sat on the bench, it led right into a deep conversation. Make sense? All right, now let's go into the second expression that we heard in the first clip. Here we go. How to use what led you to in real life. So again, the expression, what led you to. So this just means, or in other words, what caused you to do something or what influenced you to do something. So again, I've told you guys that I went to South Korea, right? So you can say, teacher, what led you to go to South Korea? Or what influenced you to do that? Well, I actually wanted to go teach English and the Bible. I wanted to be a missionary. So my desire to be a missionary and help other people led me to go to Korea. Make sense? All right, now the first example sentence. Here we go. What led you to go to Korea 10 years ago? That's exactly what I just said to you guys a few moments ago. So now you understand that first example sentence. Now, the second example sentence is, what led you to want to become a lawyer? Okay. And finally, what led you to start dating him last year? Okay. So you understand how this is used. Now, remember, guys, in the comment section, I want you guys to pick at least two of the expressions we are going to learn in this video lesson. And I want you to make your own sentence using each of the expressions you choose, okay? So I need at least two sentences, each one using one of the expressions you learned in this lesson, okay? All right, now we have one more example with what led you to. So here we go. We see people holding books and it looks like they're studying. Here's the sentence. What led you to want to study English when there were so many other options? Okay, so again, this is something that a teacher could ask a student. Hey, I'm curious. What led you to want to study English when there were so many other options? You could have learned Spanish, you could have learned French, and then the student, like you, would give their answer or response, okay? All right, let's move on to the next expression. Here we go. The third expression was have no intention of or have no intention to. Now, this expression is emphasizing that you are not going to do something or to not plan or want to do something. So let's say, for example, it is 10 p.m. at night. Now, I've told my students, maybe you know this about me, but my friends know this about me. I am an early bird, and an early bird is someone who goes to bed very early, but wakes up very early. So I normally wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah, that's true. 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning because I am an early bird. Well, that means if my friends call me at midnight and they ask me to go out, I'm going to say no. So I can say, I have no intention of going out late at night. Why? Because I like to sleep early. Kind of makes sense? All right, now let's look at our first example sentence. Here we go. He had no intention of apologizing to her. All right, makes sense. He had no desire. He didn't want to do that. Next, she has no intention of going there. Okay. And finally, I have no intention to change my plans for tomorrow. So again, I want you to think about a time where you didn't want to do something, but someone asked you to do it, but you still had no desire at all. At that time, what could you have said? You could have said to that person, I'm sorry, I have no intention of doing ... Make sense? All right, now our final example using this expression is right here. This lady looks a bit angry, or this child or young person doesn't look happy at all. So we can say, the child has no intention of speaking to her friend again. I'll tell you guys a quick story. When I was a teacher in South Korea, I taught all ages. I taught adults, I taught older people, I taught children, and I loved it. But I remember one situation. I had two little girls in my class. They were about 7 years old, and they were super cute, and they were the best of friends. So every time I taught my class, they would be looking at me and saying, teacher, oh man, we love this class, and I really enjoyed being with them. But one day I came to class and both of them had a frown on their face. So I was confused. I said, okay, let's just say their names were Sally and Mindy. Okay. I said, Sally, what's wrong? Nothing, teacher, nothing. I said, okay. And I looked at Mindy. Mindy, what's wrong? Nothing, teacher, nothing. But I noticed that they weren't sitting together. So I took Sally and Mindy out of the classroom and I stood them next to each other and I said, tell me what happened, guys. You guys are best friends. Why aren't you talking to each other? So then Mindy spoke up and said, Sally was mean to me on the bus and I didn't like it. And I looked and that was true. Sally said, I was mean to her, teacher, and I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to apologize. So in that situation, I realized that Sally had no intention of apologizing to Mindy. You understand, right? They both were upset, but Sally was the one that made the mistake and it was treating her friend wrong, but she still did not want to apologize. She had no intention of apologizing to her friend. Make sense? All right. Now let's move on to our next clip, okay? We're going to move on to clip number 1 first. Let's look at it one more time. Then we're going to move on to clip number 1. Here we go. Let's watch the clip one more time and see if you recognize them. Tempted to ask you, well, I guess that leads right into our next question because I want to ask you how you kind of transitioned to becoming an English teacher. So when did you become an English teacher? And you said you've been in Korea for 9 years. So is that when you first became an English teacher and kind of what led you to become an English teacher?
Okay, long story.
Okay.
I became an English teacher when I came to Korea.
Uh-huh.
When I came, I had no intention of staying for 9 years. So
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, it's like 8 and a bit. I'm in
Gotcha.
the middle of my 9th year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you heard all 3 expressions in that short clip, right? And now you know what they mean, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to jump into our next clip, okay? We're going to jump in, but right before that, I have a quiz for you guys. Question number 1. How do you finish this question? Want to study English when there were so many other options? Is the answer A, leads right into, B, what led you to, C, have no intention of or to, or D, none of the above? What I want you to do is in the comment section for number 1, this is quiz question number 1, write down the correct answer. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay. All right. Now, guys, remember, there are 3 more quiz questions coming up. So as you watch the video, just write your answer down first. So number 1, what's the answer? And then for the next 3 questions, you also need to write your answer in the comment section too. Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on to clip number 2. All right, guys, here we go. So moving on to clip number 2, let's see what it is.
Was their hobby. They didn't really care about being perfect. They just wanted to get together and speak English and enjoy each other's company. And I struggled to adjust to that at first. To a more relaxed style of teaching. Yeah.
It's so interesting. You're presenting the 2 kind of opposite student types, I guess, the ones that really want to learn and really want the teacher to correct every single mistake they have a desire to learn. And then the other side, the students that, English is just something I enjoy. I don't care if I make mistakes. Let's just enjoy. So yeah, as an ESL teacher, I also experienced the same thing. It's kind of difficult to balance those two different types of students because I'm similar to you. As a teacher, I want to correct everything so that I can help the student grow, because when I was studying Korean, I wanted everything corrected. Don't just let me kind of go by the wayside and make mistakes. Like, correct me so that I can grow. So yeah, I totally understand. So you'll notice that there were 3 new expressions, and these expressions, guys, honestly, when you come to understand them and learn how to use them, you are definitely going to sound more natural. So here we go. We're going to go back and look at the next expression, expression number 4. Enjoy each other's company. Now, this expression means to have fun and be happy to be around one another, or to receive pleasure from being around someone. Okay? So again, think about somebody in your life right now. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, or even those that you work with. Someone who, when you're around them, you actually feel good. You feel happy. You enjoy their company. You enjoy the environment that exists when you're around them or with them. Okay? So the first sentence, here we go. My best friend and I really enjoy each other's company. This is true. I remember one of my best friends and I, we would travel a lot together, and I loved it because we enjoyed each other's company. We had a good time. We would relax. We would laugh. We would joke. We would just enjoy being in each other's presence, or we enjoyed each other's company. Make sense? All right. Now, the next sentence is, it's easy to see that they enjoy each other's company. Very easy sentence. And finally, we enjoy each other's company. Now we're going to jump right into the final example for this one. We see there's a couple sitting on a sofa together and they look very happy. So we can say, since they enjoy each other's company so much, they should hook up. Oh, now let me explain this to you guys really quickly. My friend and I actually had a conversation about this past week. My friend is Korean and she speaks English very well. She's a teacher, but she asked me about this expression, hook up. So in English, hook up can have multiple meanings. So of course, it can have the literal meaning of hooking something up to something else, or you can say 2 people hook up, which means they start dating. They become boyfriend and girlfriend. Or another meaning, depending on the situation, a slang meaning for this is 2 people come together for a romantic relationship. Okay? So in this example, we're looking at these individuals coming together as boyfriend and girlfriend. Hook up. Okay? So you learned 2 expressions in this one. All right? Okay. So let's move on. Now, the next expression, expression number 5, is every single. Okay, so how do we use this in real life? Now, this is used to emphasize that you are speaking about every member, group, or thing. Now, I want to tell you guys really quickly an example that will help you understand this. So, a few days ago, my family and I, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll remember that I talked about my family and I having lunch together. My dad wanted to do a cookout, a small cookout. So he made fries and burgers and hot dogs. They were all vegetarian. We're vegetarian, but we had those. He put them on the grill, and my nieces love French fries. So I went and I bought some French fries so that we could have them with our burgers and hot dogs. Now, my youngest niece is 3 years old and she loves French fries. So I put the French fries on her plate. Now, let's say, for example, there were 10 French fries. She ate all of the French fries. Or we could say she ate every single French fry. That means there were none left. Make sense? All right, good. Let's go back. Here we go. Number 1, please don't write down every single word, okay? Next, the baby cried every single day. And finally, I want to help every single child. Excellent. Now, the last one we have is right here. This man looks like he's working, but he looks quite tired. So we can say, my dad works every single day, which means this person's dad doesn't get a break because he works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He works every single day. Now, guys, as you're watching this video, don't worry. You guys can get the PDF that has all of the examples and all of the expressions, okay? The link is in the description. It's totally free, a PDF that I want to give you guys so that you can study at the end of this lesson. You can print it out and study it. It's totally free. So again, I'll mention it again at the end of the video, but if you want to check it out, the link is in the description for the PDF for this lesson, okay? All right, here we go. Let's move on. Now, the next one we have is expression 6. Go by the wayside. I said this at the end of the clip. Again, go by the wayside. Now, this expression means to put aside because of something more important, or to be set aside or discarded because of other considerations. So again, basically, go by the wayside just refers to something that is kind of ignored or put away because other things are more important, okay? So let's look at some examples and it'll make it easier for you guys to understand this expression, all right? So the first expression is, the war has caused other things to go by the wayside. So again, think about when a country is in the middle of a war. Everyone's attention is on the news and also on the current state of the war. So other things, other laws or other things that were in the judicial system that needed to be taken care of sometimes go by the wayside because the war becomes the most important thing. Okay? All right. Next we have, his plan has gone by the wayside because of other important work. And finally, the president's plan for reform has gone by the wayside. All right. So again, we're understanding what this means. Finally, here we go. We see that these individuals look like they're working on something. They're busy, and a light bulb, usually in American culture and maybe in your culture as well, when we have a light bulb graphic, it refers to an idea like, ah. So they have an idea. So we're making a sentence using go by the wayside and idea. So let's go back. Here we go. I know you are busy, but don't let your idea go by the wayside. Makes sense, right? Okay, you guys got it? Don't let your idea be ignored. Even though there are other things that are important, remember to also focus on your idea. Okay, you got it? All right, now let's keep going. Here we go. Now, let's see clip number 2 one more time and listen closely for the expressions.
Was their hobby. They didn't really care about being perfect. They just wanted to get together and speak English and enjoy each other's company. And I struggled to adjust to that at first. To a more relaxed style of teaching. Yeah.
It's so interesting. You're presenting the two kind of opposite student types, I guess, the ones that really want to learn and really want the teacher to correct every single mistake they have and have a desire to learn. And then the other side, the students that, English is just something I enjoy. I don't care if I make mistakes. Let's just enjoy. So yeah, as an ESL teacher, I also experienced the same thing. It's kind of difficult to balance those two different types of students because I'm similar to you. As a teacher, I want to correct everything so that I can help the student grow, because when I was studying Korean, I wanted everything corrected. Don't just let me kind of go by the wayside and make mistakes. Like, correct me so I can grow. So yeah, I totally understand. Okay, now, so we just watched the clip one more time, and you notice that now that you understand the meaning of the expression 1, 2, and 3, well, again, we had 3 expressions for this clip. It was easier for you to understand the conversation we were having in that clip, okay? All right, now let's move on. Here we go. We're going to move on now, and we're going to move on to this question. Question number 2. My dad works day. So what goes in this space? Is it A, enjoy each other's company? Is it B, every single? Is it C, go by the wayside? Or is it D, none of the above? Again, remember, you're going to put your answer in the comment section for number 2. I'll show it to you one more time. What's the answer to this question, this quiz question? All right. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, guys, we're going to move on to our next clip. All right. Now, the next clip we have is clip number 3. Here we go. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was good for me overall because I ended up more balanced. Now I pull up some mistakes, particularly if I'm seeing habitual things, but I'm not pulling up the one-off, so I'm not pulling up every single mistake. I think it makes me a better teacher, to be honest.
That is true.
Yeah,
that's true. That is good. We saw that clip, and there were again 3 new expressions that we learned in that clip. So let's jump to my screen so we can see what these expressions actually mean and how to use them properly in a conversation. So here we go. The 7th expression is good overall. Again, good overall. All right. So this is good all over, good as a whole, or good in general. Okay. All right. So let's look at some examples. Here we go. He's pretty good overall. Now, for this one, we're basically saying that he's a good person. He's kind. He treats everybody well. So overall, in general, he's a great guy. He's good overall. All right. Now let's go to our next example. Here we go. The new athletes are good overall. So I want you to imagine a situation where there's a new coach coming to a school and he has to assess or look at the athletes and see their abilities and their skills. And he realizes, pretty much overall, they're good. The athletes are good overall. All right. Now, our last example. Here we go. The last written one is, I think their speaking ability is good overall. All right, good sentence. So here we go with a visual. Now we see that these people are working on some kind of project and they have kind of a PowerPoint over here. So we can say the new sales project was good overall. Okay. So guys, again, remember, I want you guys to pick 2 of these expressions that I'm teaching you in today's English video lesson. And I want you to try to make your own sentences using the expressions. Okay. All right. So let's move on to our next expression. Number 8, particularly if. Again, particularly if. Now, real quick, this pronunciation can be a bit tricky. So after me, particularly. Very good. It feels weird, but you're doing good. Now, let's say it faster after me. Particularly. Great. One more time. Particularly. Excellent job. Now together. Particularly if. Very good. Don't forget the F sound, your front teeth on your bottom lip. If. Excellent job. All right. So now this expression means it is used to emphasize a specific point or aspect of something you are saying. Okay. So for example, soup and salad is a great menu idea, particularly if you're planning to feed a lot of people. Okay. Next, I think you should take a raincoat, particularly if you want to stay dry. You see that these points are being emphasized. And finally, here are some tips from my attorney, particularly if you are not a U.S. citizen. Okay. Now, again, the visual. So we see these women are singing. So maybe it's a concert and we can say, in my opinion, you should go to the concert, particularly if you really like country music. All right. So again, guys, you noticed that I was emphasizing a certain point, and that's when I used particularly if. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to our next expression. Expression number 9. How to use the one-offs in real life. Again, the one-offs. So this means done, made, or happening only once and not repeated. Okay. So here we go. The meeting was a one-off. Okay, only happening one time. Next, this is a one-off deal, so don't ask again. All right, only happening one time. And finally, will you be doing more talks in the future, or was that just a one-off? So perfect example, guys. Last week, I did a live English class here on YouTube, and I'm sure some of you joined. And there was a question at the end of the live video about, teacher, is this going to be the only episode? Are you going to do this again? So that student could have said, teacher, is this live class a one-off, or will you be doing it again? Make sense? All right, now just to let you guys know, I am going to be doing another live video, so pay attention. I'll put some notices out on Instagram, Facebook, and even here in the YouTube community, okay? All right, so let's go to our final example for this expression. Here we go. We have lots of money on this page. They gave him a one-off payment to compensate for the extra hours he had to work. All right, you see what happened there, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is, now that we've learned these expressions, we need to move on to the next phase. So here we go. We're going to move on to the next phase. We need to listen and watch the clip one more time. Yeah. Okay.
I think it was good for me overall because I ended up more balanced. Now I pull up some mistakes, particularly if I'm seeing habitual things, but I'm not pulling up the one-off, so I'm not pulling up every single mistake. I think it makes me a better teacher, to be honest.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is good. Okay, so you notice we heard all three expressions, and now you know exactly what they mean, okay? So let's go to our quiz. Let's see if you guys can get this answer right for the quiz. Here's question number 3. I think their speaking ability is ... Is it A, particularly if, B, one-offs, C, good overall, or D, none of the above? Now remember, you're going to put your answer in the comment section for number 3. What's the answer? Okay? All right. Now, guys, let's move on to our next clip. Clip number 4. Here we go.
An important component to learning any language is repetition. You cannot sound fluent if you have not said the phrase 100,000 trillion times.
I know. Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
And students that want to learn the language will put the work in and will do the repetition that's needed to get that fluent sound. Students that are just time serving, they're not interested in doing that. It bores them and they don't care.
Okay, so that was our final clip. Now, guys, you may notice that in the clip, sometimes it's a bit hard to understand what she's saying, what Teacher Kat is saying. It's okay for you to go back, rewind, and play the clip again and kind of up the volume. But remember, this is going to really help your listening skills because you have to listen very closely when she speaks, okay? All right, so let's jump into looking at the expressions that were mentioned in this clip. Expression number 10, important component. Again, important component. Now, this expression emphasizes that one part or section is vital or of great importance. So here's the first example sentence. This is an important component of the program. Okay, so again, this is an important part or section of the program. All right, okay. Next we have, I think this is an important component of the process, okay? And finally, remember not to leave out this important component. Very good. All right, now, just to kind of bring it home and help you guys to really connect with this expression, when you're learning English, there are many different things you have to learn. You have to learn vocabulary, you have to learn expressions, you have to work on your listening skills, your speaking skills, and also your understanding of grammar. So each of these are important, but a lot of times for your foundation, grammar is the most important component of your English language journey. Makes sense, right? You caught that one, right? Makes sense now, huh? All right, so let's look at one more example. Here we go. We have these little children sitting here with their teacher, and we say, an important component of early language development is listening. This is very, very true, okay? All right, so let's move on to expression number 11. Put the work in. One more time, put the work in. Now, this expression actually came up in a conversation I had with one of my students on Instagram, and it literally just refers to giving all of your effort, giving your best effort to make something work or to do something. All right. Excuse me, guys. So here we go. Means to do the work that needs to be done, even if it requires a lot of effort. So first example, you have to put the work in if you expect to be fluent in English. This is so true. Again, guys, I understand that learning English is not the easiest thing. I know that there are going to be times when you feel discouraged and it feels like you can't move forward. But if you put the work in, I guarantee you will reach your goals. I've been where you are. I had to also learn how to speak Korean, and it was extremely difficult. Studying the grammar and the vocabulary and so many other aspects of the Korean language, they were very difficult for me. But I decided to put the work in, and the results were good. So keep at it. Don't stop. You can do it. All right. Okay. Number 2, we have he put the work in, which is why he received good results. And finally, have you put the work in, or are you just trying to do the minimum requirements? So you see right here in this example, we're comparing putting the work in and minimum effort or minimum requirements, okay? This is giving all your effort. This is giving just a little bit of effort, okay? All right, now let's go to our other example using this expression. Here we go. We have an individual standing right here, and it looks like he's holding a graph, okay? So here we go. Her accountant put the work in and got her the money she needed. That's why he looks so happy right here, okay? So again, you can use this expression whenever someone has put a lot of effort into something or someone has done something for you that was very, very helpful, all right? Okay, so let's move on to our next expression. All right, expression number 12. How to use time serving in real life. All right, not working very hard at your job or something else because you are just waiting until you reach the time when you can stop. So again, it's when you feel like, I'm only doing this because I have to, and I'm really watching the clock. When can I leave? I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just time serving, okay? All right, now let's look at the example sentences. Here we go. First one. He's a time-serving drone who works for America's Internal Revenue Service. He's just staying there because he has to be there, all right? Next, these time-serving workers are not putting the work in at all. Again, they really don't have to be there or they don't want to be there, but they're just doing it because they have to and they're not working hard, okay? All right, next we have sometimes he just feels like a time-serving career man, okay? All right, great. Well, here we go. The students looked like they were just time-serving instead of actually being excited to learn. You see in this picture, they're all looking at their phones and they really don't want to learn, or so it seems, okay? All right, so let's move on. Here we go. Remember, the next thing we have to do is watch the clip one more time. So here we go.
An important component to learning any language is repetition. You cannot sound fluent if you have not said the phrase 100,000 trillion times.
I know. Yeah.
A lot of times.
A lot of times. Yeah.
And students that want to learn the language will put the work in and will do the repetition that's needed to get that fluent sound. Students that are just time serving They're not interested in doing that. It bores them and they don't care.
All right, so this time you heard all the expressions, right, guys? So we learned the 3 expressions and we heard the clip again, and now we can recognize, this is what myself and the other teacher were saying. So now let's see if you guys can get the right answer for the quiz. Here we go. We're going back to my screen again, guys. Here we go. Question number 4. He, ... which is why he received good results. Okay, letter A, important component. Letter B, put the work in. Letter C, time serving. Or letter D, none of the above. Again, question number 4, what's the answer? All right, guys, remember, number 1, 2, 3, and 4, I want you to put your answers in the comment section and also try to pick 2 expressions to make your own sentences, okay? All right, so guys, I really hope you learned a lot. Remember, we learned 12 expressions, 12 English expressions today. Now, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I also want to give you guys the free PDF. All you have to do is click the link that's in the description, and you can download the free PDF so that you can practice and use these English expressions that we learned today. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.